Hello there. Today I'm taking a look at a Pinot Noir from California. This is Chalk Hill, Sonoma County Pinot Noir from 2021. The Chalk Hill estate was founded in 1972. It's a 1,300 acre property with 300 of those acres in vine, and it was originally founded by somebody called Fred Furth, and he was an attorney. He was a larger-than-life character, well known for cigar-smoking, and he identified the property, evidently, according to the story, having flown over it in an aircraft, and he saw the natural amphitheater of the hills and thought that would be a great place to be growing vines. So in fact, these days there's actually an AVA for Chalk Hill, which is one of 13 AVAs within Sonoma. The location here is between the cool Russian River and the warmer Alexander Valley, with the idea that you get sort of the best of both. You get a spread of climates. However, this particular wine, being from the Sonoma Coast AVA, no part of it is sourced from the Chalk Hill AVA. Evidently, in 2010, the winery was bought by Bill Foley, and Bill is well known for buying wineries, investing in them and really improving their quality. He has quite a few holdings in New Zealand, for instance, and he does the same with sports teams. Not long after the Foley family bought Chalk Hill, this wine was starting to be produced in 2012. It's from fruit from the northeast of Sonoma County, with the majority of fruit for it coming from Foley family estate vineyard. So fruit from this is sourced from sites in Carneros, in the Russian River, in the Sonoma Valley, and then in the wider Sonoma Coast area. So 2021 was a warmer than average vintage. It was an early bud burst and it was quite dry. The warm temperatures continued through into the summer, which led to a relatively early harvest. So we're talking harvest picking between the 10th and the 17th of September. The fruit was hand-picked, and it was hand-picked in the cool of the early morning, just to ensure the heat couldn't destroy the freshness of the fruit. At the winery, pre-fermentation, their approach is to do a cold soak, so the fermentation is delayed and the crushed fruit is allowed to extract aromas, flavours and colours from the skins of the fruit prior to the fermentation going on. So there's no alcohol around, so it's a less extractive management regime. Fermentation goes on in stainless steel tanks, and I believe there would have been pump overs. The wine ages for 5 months in French oak barrels, 30% of which are new, and I believe the wine will have done its malolactic conversion in those barrels as well. So let's see what we make of it, shall we? My initial impression is that it's a wine of medium depth of colour. The ruby red colour is actually quite dark, but it just doesn't have that depth there. Swirling it, the wine is noted on its label as being 14.3% alcohol. I'm a little surprised that there aren't more obvious tears forming on the glass as I swirl it, given that, quite high strength. Anyway, let's have a look at the aromas, shall we? That's quite a typical lifted Pinot Noir nose. There's a note of sort of ripe red cherry with almost a sort of a plummy overtone. A slight sort of meatiness in the aromas, but really that's countered by a sort of very juicy red cherry top note. And yes, the more I look at the aromas, the more that sort of red cherry, or I suppose juicy boysenberry notes are coming to the fore. It's really quite an attractive primary fruit note there. So let's taste. On the palate, the fruit is soft. There's a very, very fine tannin there, but there's a real front of mouth warmth coming from the alcohol. There's a ripeness and a richness. Towards the finish, you start to get a little bit of sort of perhaps drying oak, maybe a touch of grape pip there, giving it a little bit of drying bite. In general, as I say, there's 30% of new oak employed on this, and it's not showing through enormously. The juicy fruit is sitting on top of that. There are some slightly meaty overtones to the wine, but again, it finishes with a juicy red fruit. It's soft. The alcohol is giving a bit of roundness to the mid palate. The wine's of medium weight. The alcohol is quite forward on the attack of the wine, and it settles more towards the finish. The acidity is relatively soft. This is a straightforward, approachable version of a Pinot Noir with plenty of juicy primary fruit elements. And there's just enough freshness on the finish to keep the juiciness of the fruit right to the very end, despite relatively warming alcohol at the beginning of the wine. I think it's an enjoyable enough drink. I wouldn't think that it needs aging particularly. I think it's a wine to open and consume relatively quickly. It would partner simple foods very effectively, or could be drunk on its own. So thank you very much for joining us for the tasting. I hope you found this of interest. If you've enjoyed it, do please press the like button. Do consider sharing it with any friends you think might be interested in seeing it. Do also consider signing up and following us on YouTube. It would be great to have your support. Please leave any comments you have in the comments box as well. We would love to hear your feedback on the tastings we're doing, the wines we're trying, or anything else